Morning, Akane-chan.
なんだか辛そうですね。
I stuffed my face until nearly midnight last night. The junk food party was fun, but I guess it was a bad move on our part to start past 9 o'clock.
わあ、美味しそうなアップルパイ。
Oh, you can have it.
わーい。
When I came outside,
おはよう、オラ。
Silvie came out from Ria's room.
お姫様が。
Yo! Oh, did you stay in Ria's room?
あの後もしばらくお話ししてたんだけど、そのまま二人で。
A sleepover with two beautiful ladies. I obviously couldn't possibly take part, but I wish I could have at least gotten a glimpse.
オーラはどうしたの？こんなに早く。あら？ 1、2、3、4。おお、元気だね、お姫様。ラジオ体操、体育の時間にやるのは知っていたけれど、なるほど、目覚めにやるのも効果的ね。
It's a piece of wisdom from Japanese summer breaks. We headed to school shortly thereafter.
相馬くん、今日もお休み。
Not much you can do about her. I did go wake her, but she also had a severe case of heartburn from our late-night binging spree. In her case, she'd probably skip.
もう、今日は2学期最後なのに。
I get it. It had completely slipped my mind. Next Monday was the end of term ceremony. Today was the last day of classes.
オーラ最近、授業に身を入れてるわよね。
I doubt it'll amount to much though. I was taking this seriously, but I didn't know what I didn't know. Since I was preparing and reviewing as much as possible, I had learned new things along the way. But still, my path to becoming a diplomat would be a long one. And then?
シルビー様、よろしいですか？
おはよう、エル。
おはようございます。
Il-san respectfully bowed. It was fairly rare for these two to commute to school separately, I supposed.
明日なのですが、急な用事が入ってしまいました。
あら？明日はくまポン家へ行ってお城の修繕応援会で演奏するんじゃなかったかしら。
You mean Kumamoto Prefecture? You're going all the way to Kumamoto? That's awesome. Royalty had it rough on a daily basis.
そちらはキャンセルとなります。龍蔵寺殿がどうしても明日会いたいと、修繕応援会のスポンサーの一人ですので無視できません。
あらあら、龍蔵寺さん。タイミングが悪かったものね。やっぱり私のことを恨んでるのかしら。
でしょうね。確認しておきますが、何を言われても交わしてください。決して謝ってはなりません。
わかってます。そこら辺の駆け引きは。適当にお茶を濁して逃げるわ。相馬くんと会えるつてを作ってくれたのは感謝だけれど、向こうも好き勝手したし、おあいこよね。
Can I say something? Silvie lifted her hand to say yes. You and this Ryuzoji person have no relationship whatsoever, right?
ええ、公私織り交ぜてのお付き合いを望まれて、これまでは応じてきたけれど、相馬くんとはもう個人的にコンタクトが取れるんだもの。今後は公私の死は打ち切っちゃって OK。
So this was Silvie's way of saying she was done with him? I bet he was perfectly aware of this. Why call her over now? I wondered what it could be. This gave me a bad feeling.
マリアに合わせるのが早すぎた。まさかこうもあっさりあちらで打ち解けてしまうとは。
あのマリアが心を許すとは思いませんでしたね。
くっそー、シルビア王女、 一発で僕を切り捨てるって、そんなに僕に興味ないのか。ちょっと強引だが、明日は何としても婚約話を引きずらせてもらうぞ。タブロイド紙の記者どもは何人くらい用意できた？
金の匂いがすればいくらでも寄ってくる害虫どもです。20や30は楽に集まるでしょうが。
タイミングを間違えるなよ。無理やりでも何でも僕が彼女の唇を奪う、その瞬間を写真に収めて即記事にさせるんだ。
本当によろしいので？国際問題にでもなったら。
だからこそ向こうは何も言えないさ。キスごときでそう騒ぎ立てるわけにもいかない。あとは民意を適当に誘導して、うちとソルティレージュが蜜月だと思い込ませれば、自然とあの国の日本での窓口はうちに限定される。そしたら時間をかけてゆっくりとだな。
そううまくいくでしょうか。
それに僕ってキスがうまいからさ、無理やりでもしちゃえば彼女も僕に悪い気しないかも。いや本当にうまいだって。これまでした子みんなそう言うもん。
これまでした子って？
キャバクラとかソープとか。とにかく記者の準備しておけよ。
はあ。
どうされました？難しい顔をなさってますが。
Oh, yeah. That Ryuzoji guy really did rub me the wrong way. I had nothing to base it on, but I felt uneasy for some reason. Hey, Silvie.
何？
About that meeting tomorrow, do you know where you're going to meet up or anything?
そうね。隣町のホテルだと思うわ。あそこ、とても綺麗な日本庭園があるの。
Silvie was smiling sweetly. She didn't appear to be on guard in the slightest. Silvie was in the right on this one, and there was no need to be on guard. I was the weird one here. But I still couldn't shake this feeling. Hey, would it be okay if I went with you?
What?
The garden. I think I'd like to take a quick look myself, and if it's at a high-class hotel, I couldn't exactly go and see by myself very easily.
もちろんいいわよ。
Silvie smiled happily, but...
それじゃあ、エルにオーラも。ダメよ、オーラ。明日、千恵香さんと約束があるんでしょ？
Ah. Oh right, I just confirmed that with her yesterday. She asked me to go out with her tomorrow to make up for Christmas. Then why don't we bring Chieka along or something? We hadn't decided where we would go yet anyway. Chieka would willingly tag along if I told her we were going for lunch at a high-class hotel. But...
ダメ。二人で会うんでしょ？なら、千恵香さんに集中してあげて。私が間に入ったら、彼女にもきっと変に思われるわ。
Well, yeah, I bet she'd be crazy nervous if she ran into the princess of Sortilège. In the end, it wasn't looking plausible for me to tag along. Ah. What to do about this? I had made up my mind to try and win Silvie over by age 25. But if I was acting so impatient now, could I wait that long? Still, I'd simply be overreacting if I were to tell her I loved her now. My quote-unquote shell wasn't cool enough to pull that one off.
Loveriche.
The night had passed, but the gloom I felt hadn't faded. It was currently 9 AM and right around the time I was waiting for Chieka to call me. Walking around outside was such a pain too. what to do.
はよ
Hey,
んテンション低いの
pretty much. If a certain someone in a long black wig appeared, then that'd perk me right up.
ないジュースもらうぞ
Ria grabbed the ramune from the fridge.
こっちも今テンション低いつかイライラするくそ手軽に殴れるサンドバッグ持ってないかお前の腹でもいい
Nope. Something wrong? If you're ticked off, listening to Maria Bishop's music is strangely soothing. You could sing if you want.
ない
She patted at her pockets. With that, she clicked her tongue as if she'd realized something and gave up. Out of cigarette or something?
それ今禁煙3日目一番きつい日だやっぱりサンドバッグがいるな
She chugged down the ramune in a single gulp.
クリスマスまで持つかこれくっそ
Christmas. Did you quit for the party?
仕事受けちゃったしタバコの匂いさせてるとまずいだろマリア・ビショップ
For sure. She was a more conscientious person than I expected. It'd be disillusioning beyond belief if the lovely Maria smelled like nicotine. Maria gives off this impression that she emits this killed-to-see minty fresh aroma from her sweat glands, like some all-natural fruit sprite.
シトラスミントねクリスマス会はそれ以外の香水で行くからどっちにしろタバコは NG
She collapsed imply to the floor. It was one downbeat day for the both of us.
そっちは
Nothing much.
シルビーに振られたとか
She hasn't turned me down, and you shouldn't say stuff like that. It's more than that. I'm stressed out because I can't tell her how I feel yet. A diplomat by age 25. The distance I would have to travel and how steep the climb would be to get there, all of it left me feeling down in the dumps.
告白できないなんで
I mean, remember what I said before? If I did it the way I am now.
なんか言ってたっけあのさイチもうあの時とは状況違くね
Oh. Both of my rivals had fallen by the wayside, and it was probably safe to disregard that Ryuzoji guy too. There was no reason not to confess with the way things currently stood. But...
ヘタレが
Ugu! That was the conclusion anyone would reach. The only reason I refused to confess was for that exact reason. It was true that I wasn't worthy of Silvie the way I was now, but I did think the biggest reason was how much of a loser I was. I still can't do it. Not how I am now. I'm not confident enough that I could become the cool sort of guy who deserves to be at her side. It was too soon.
別にかっこよくなくてもいいんじゃね
Huh? Where did this come from? You were the one who brought how cool or lame I was up in the first place. The second that crossed my mind.
わかってねえなお前大事なのは今かっこいいことじゃねえよかっこつけることだよかっこつけた結果どうなるかなんてわからないけどでもかっこつけてるやつは無条件でかっこいいもんだぜ
Are you sure about that? What did she mean? I didn't get it, but then...
チャッスーオールくんいた
Chieka arrived.
どうも今消えるんではいどうも
Looked like she got cold feet since there was a delinquent in my room. She was pretty on edge.
あれもしかして相馬くん
You immediately recognized her too, huh?
久しぶりチェッカ
Cheka? These two had met back in the day, but she recognized her at a glance. Was this normal? Was I the majorly dense one for taking so long to piece it together? We said goodbye to Ria, who went to sleep in her room, and I headed out with Chieka.
一回そうリアちゃんもノーブルだったなんてなんで言ってくれなかったのよ。
I didn't know you remembered her. So, where are we going today? I agreed to spend Christmas together, but then I bailed because of the party Maria would be attending. Today's get-together was to make up for that. Today ought to be plenty to go do something Christmassy, like go around looking at the decorative lights. People started doing those activities around the end of November anyway. However, Chieka looked less than pleased with me. I assume you plan to try and make me see Torio since it's Christmas. The childhood friend I'd cut ties with after the incident that summer, I knew Chieka wanted us to patch things up. Torio could have taken time off for Christmas, but today is a Sunday and our baseball club definitely has practice. Your plan went up in flames. So then, what are we going to do today?
そこまで計算済み？
It was obviously a coincidence, but I had wanted to avoid any Christmas get-togethers entirely.
オール君ってほんと性格悪いよね。
You're awfully rude.
まあいっか。それじゃあ隣町まで行こう。
Is something going on there?
あるホテルでね、ライトアップがすごいらしいの。来週見に行くからその下調べも兼ねて。
A hotel? A town over.
すっごい日本庭園があるんだって。
Okay, let's go. Let's go right now.
何急に。
Come on, run for it. Come on already.
なんだのよ
本日はお時間をいただきましてありがとうございます。
マリアさんとお話の機会を持つのにご尽力いただきましたもの。お礼をしたかったところですわ。
マリアとは随分と仲良くなられたようで。
彼女と懇意な星テレビの城ヶ崎さんが学園で同じクラスですの。その縁がありまして、今後は龍蔵寺さんのお手を煩わせずとも彼女に接触できそうです。
そうですか。それでですね、今日呼び出したのは他でもない。
はい。
巷に妙な噂が出ていたそうですね。何でも僕とあなたが将来を前提にした仲であったとか。
はあ。
僕が流したんだけど。
この人が流したのよね。
このたかが噂についてソルティレージは公式に否定したそうですね。
ええ、風評は早めに立つのが常道ですから。
この件で少々こちら困っていましてね。民衆というのは勝手なもので特別仲がいいわけではないと聞くと自然と仲が悪いとやっかんでしまう。我が龍蔵寺家と貴家の間が不穏であるかのように邪推されてしまっていまして。
それは
元はといえば僕のせいだけど。
元はといえばこの人のせいよね。
そこでですね。
はい。鼻息が荒いわ。どうしたのかしら。そういえばいつの間にかエルたちが周りにいない。ここがそのホテルだけど、なんかカメラ持った人多いね。今日何かあるのかな。
Yeah, must be.
したのオルくん。誰か探してるの？
Nah.
入りなさい。現在ここの庭園は立ち入り禁止です。
だから立ち入ってはないっしょ。公共の場ですよ。勝手に追い出したらそれこそ犯罪っすよ。
さん
市松殿、なぜここに？
誰この美人。なんだか怖いわこの人。エルはどこへ行ったのかしら。
あと2分話を引き伸ばさなくては。なぜあんな噂をいちいち否定したのでしょう。
ですから
放っておけばよかったことですよね。どうしていちいち否定したので？
それはですからそれが普通です。結果不利益を被ったそちらには残念ですけど。
誰かお付き合いしてる方でもいるので？いませんよね。いたら国が黙ってませんよね。
それはおりませんけど。
じゃあどうして急に否定したので？あと1分。
What's with all the commotion? Whoa, don't push!
わかりません。
There definitely was a seemingly famous Japanese-style garden, but it was encircled by a massive fleet of men. They were different from Elle and Silvie's black-suited guards. They were all adept on their feet, but had chosen pretty sloppy attire. And they all had cameras in their hands. It was such a chaotic setting that Elle's group was unsure of how to respond. Silvie had to be in the middle of it all as we spoke. If they had cameras, that must mean... Excuse me.
Huh?
I'm new here, so I'm not entirely sure, but is something going on here today? With a sleazy grin, I spoke to a nearby man. I outwardly looked like a completely ordinary Japanese man. It was unlikely they'd assume I was associated with sortilege.
俺も知らねえけど、今日11時、ここでとんでもないスクープになる事件が起きるってタレコミがあったんだよ。ソルティレージョンのお姫様がここにいるみたいだし、こりゃ大事件の匂いだぜ。
A scandal? If they were warned, there'd be some scandal in advance. And at 11 o'clock? That wasn't even half a minute away.
あと22秒。20秒で記者たちが飛び込んでくる。その瞬間にキス。その写真が世間に回れば新たな火の玉になる。
その急に否定したのは
私あと5秒。4、3、2。
好きな人が
1。11時。
The camera-wielding man surged into the garden like a flash avalanche.
待て貴様ら。
An incident had occurred at a previously disclosed time somewhere a member of royalty was present. I had no idea how accurate these reporters were, but the crowd was massive. They must have had a pretty reliable source. I may have been a Japanese citizen who led a peaceful life, but I wasn't so foolish that the word terrorism didn't come to mind when this many prerequisites were met. As group was preoccupied with stopping the flood of men, there was no time. All of you, keep away! I slipped into the reporter's midst and rushed into the garden. I pushed through the pine trees, which hid the bank of a lake deeper within. Silvie! I was the very first to find his way inside. Silvie was there in Japanese clothing, standing with 2 men. 2 men? Was that man an assassin? No, a bomber? Sniper? I had no idea what would come next. But if he was after Silvie... Get down! I rushed at him without hesitation.
今だ
The man suddenly grabbed Silvie's shoulders. Maybe he really was an assassin. As Silvie stood there astonished, he drew his face in closer to hers.
もらった
半径1メートルに接近迎撃します。
The likely assassin was blown up before he could get a word in edgewise. But while a Kyudo may have defeated the assassin, the detonation had no real destruction force. Whoa! I snatched Silvie as she flew off to the side. We tumbled to the ground in a grand fashion. Youch! Flashy action moves aren't something to actually do in real life. My whole body ached after I slammed into the stone pavement. Also, why was it? My upper lip hurt. Like something had... Oh! Crashed into it pretty hard.
おお、シルビア王女だ。取れ取れ。
やっぱ可愛いなあれキスしてるおい大スクープだ
羨ましい。でもこれが飯の種なんでね。
The onlookers were being pretty noisy. But as for me personally, my brain stopped functioning the second I recognized the situation I'd found myself in. We were pressed together. Well, yeah, considering the sensation I felt against my mouth. Silvie gently lifted her face. She was on top, so she could easily part from me if she did so. The sensation, it seemed to linger, to cling to my mouth. A soft, squishy, melty sensation. And that brief moment would be forever etched into my memory. Why? A pleasant sensation pressed against me once more. I was obviously happy about it, but the reaction that came to mind was less joy and more why? Silvie, she was fully aware of what she was doing right now. She knew she was doing this with me. And then, it went without saying. In the 2 hours that followed, those photos of us caused a massive uproar all over the internet.